Okay. Oh, look at that. We're getting applause for nothing. Okay, Rick Wilson, do you think Trump will face a Republican challenger in 2020? Great question. No.
Nope.
Why is that?
I think that all these guys will look at it and they will watch the horde out there, and they will have Fox and Breitbart nuking them 24/7, and every single one of them will walk away from it.
All right.
Nobody's serious at this point.
What does the panel think about the Trump administration's plan to replace their travel ban with more specific restrictions? I don't know what that means. What are the more specific? Do you know this?
By
Specific
name?
countries.
He was going to add additional
Name
countries.
people that he doesn't like?
Specific people.
Will Trump rip up the Iran deal? And what happened? Now, this is, this thing where he goes, I've made my decision, but I'm not telling you yet.
Until next week's sweeps.
Exactly. It's like
Sweeps are coming soon. And in that time, I will tell you.
Right. February, May, and November. That's when he announces his
No,
decision.
he wouldn't tell May.
What?
She asked him. May, he said no. She asked him, he said no.
Hey-oh.
But that would be such a terrible thing if he ripped up the Iran. I mean, it's bad enough, the Paris thing, but that wasn't even a binding. That was,
Well, the most serious.
It's also not going to help with negotiating with North Korea.
Absolutely, that's
right?
the key. That's giving
like
up.
If we lose our credibility that we can actually abide by any diplomatic agreement, why
That
would
is
North Korea
the equivalent.
abandon this program?
Not as the equivalent. That is telling Kim Il-jung, don't bother signing a deal with me because it'll have no effect.
Right.
But what is interesting is that he's sort of chickening out on doing it. By the way, one of the things that's striking to me is how little he has gotten done. In his speech tonight, he was talking about all that he's done. And what's striking is how little he has gotten done, and that has not affected his people. I've just said his role, and it's what his people want him to be, he is the insulter in chief. He is very good at insulting everybody that his people think have mistreated them. And after he's done that, they don't need anything. But very little has changed in the world with Korea, with Iran, with the Middle East. And I think with Iran, he's going to maybe send it to Congress, but in the end, he's not going to change
But isn't it always amazing how even the people he's insulted seem to forget about it in a couple of days?
The
and they come
Republicans
back
do.
to work.
Meryl Streep's still pissed off.
Yeah.
No, Bill, the
Chuck
Republicans...
Schumer is not a Republican, and he's called him a lightweight and insulted him up and down, and now Chuck's like,
Yeah,
I
but
think
Chuck
he
Schumer
likes
just,
me.
but Chuck
He's-
Schumer just
he sees
pulled
an
his pants
opportunity.
down
Yeah.
on DACA a couple of days ago.
Chuck got
So
something
Chuck Schumer's
from
a
it.
smart transactional politician, and he knows that he can roll Trump by going in the office and saying, "You really are a magnificent golden idol," and Trump will do whatever he wants.
By the way, can I add
I
one
know I
point?
was hard on you tonight,
One-
but you're a really funny guy.
One point on that.
just
One point
speaks
on
in
that deal.
material.
I think one of the things that came out of that Trump, Schumer, Pelosi deal is very good news for the Democrats in 2018 in the House. The Republicans were counting on demonizing Nancy Pelosi. John Ossoff was doing well, and then they went after Pelosi. It's going to be very hard for Republicans now to say, "Oh, you're going to go to Washington and vote with Nancy Pelosi,"
Yeah, and
the answer is, yeah, like Donald Trump did. He has legitimized Pelosi
I agree with
and
that,
blunted their weapon.
And one reason why Jackoff lost that race was because he didn't defend Nancy Pelosi, which is the disease of the
But
Democrats.
Bill, here's the
He
difference.
didn't stand up and
Bill,
go,
here's
you know
the
what,
difference.
why is Nancy
Bill,
Pelosi
the
so
difference
bad?
between you and me, that's over. I understand that. But I do think the more important point is that next time, he's not going to even be able to use that weapon. He's not going to be able to attack Nancy. They're not going to be able to attack Nancy.
Oh,
Pelosi.
people will have forgotten by then.
No, they won't. Oh, no, there's TV, there's...
Not that
That's
gets
the point.
shown on Fox.
TV is an interesting thing because I, for example, cannot watch Fox. And I have many, many Democratic friends who watch it to learn and to understand what the other side is doing. And I can't do it. And the reverse is that people are never going to watch now CNN, let alone MSNBC.
They'll see the ads of Trump being nice to Nancy Pelosi, and I believe this will substantially diminish the ability of a Republican candidate to benefit from discrediting a Democrat by associating with him.
Catherine, what can we expect from a Republican tax reform plan? Oh, aren't you glad you got that question?
Wow.
Hey, I write a lot about taxes.
Yeah, you could take that home.
I could.
Really?
I could
That's your
speak.
thing?
Yeah, I write a lot about taxes.
Okay,
actually.
then give it to us.
Well, first of all, it's not going to be tax reform. It's going to be tax cuts, and there's a big difference. One is, about closing loopholes and making sure that it's paid for, and the other one is just about a big giveaway to the rich. And if anything, that's what we'll see. The problem is that there are all of these.
Once again, my point that Trump is not that different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like we hadn't heard that before Trump
But
arrived.
it's not as easy as just cutting taxes across the board, because there are a lot of these like bells and whistles in how the Senate works that makes it actually very difficult to not have a paid-for tax cut. So that's really going to be the challenge, is fitting the puzzle pieces together. And every single thing you would need to do to pay for it is really unpopular.
Right. I mean, to take away the mortgage deduction, is that ever going to happen in America?
No, or state and local, or
Okay,
or
so-
things like the border adjustment tax, which nobody even remembers anymore, but that was supposed to be a big windfall. There were a lot of things that were supposed to help pay for this, including actually repealing Obamacare. Part of the reason why they've been so gung-ho about repealing Obamacare is because that includes tax increases in it. And if you bundle all of that with the Obamacare repeal rather than into the separate bill, which is tax
Obamacare
cuts,
is not putting us into the red.
No.
No, it's
No.
actually making a little money
Yeah.
because it was a redistribution of income. When they
Right.
accused him of that, he should have said, "Yeah, fuck yeah, exactly." That's exactly what we're doing. We're taking money from people who will never miss it and giving it to poor people who desperately need it.
Who
Sue
need
me.
health care.
Right. Bob, what were your thoughts on Jameel Hill, the ESPN host who criticized Trump on Twitter? Right, she called him a white supremacist.
Yeah. I don't know Jamel Hill. I hear good things about her, but my thought is this. She has a program every night on ESPN. She has a platform.
Right.
What she did was inelegant. Whether you more or less agree with it or not, it's inelegant. It's not a good way to make a point. You know, being on Twitter and going back and forth with people on Twitter, long before it was ever invented, George Bernard Shaw said, "Do not wrestle with a pig. You get dirty, and the pig enjoys it." If you're a bold-faced name, why do you want to be engaged with some dope on Twitter because he said something and you come back at him and back and forth, back and forth? She should go on her own.
Wait. He's the president, and he...
No, she wasn't responding to him.
Well, she called him a white supremacist.
No, I understand. But she should, if she wants to make her point, she should go on her own program and make a fulsome, textured, nuanced point.
But he
Except
does
that
the
her
same
program
thing.
is...
No, I get that.
The list of people he's
But
called
Bob,
racists
I
are
get that.
I don't agree with that. But first of all, her program is on ESPN. It's a sports show.
Yeah.
It would be completely out of place for her to, say...
Not really,
and
because they talk
Do you
about
think Syndergaard's going to
social
come
issues.
back next year? Oh, and then our next topic is...
Good Met
Trump.
reference.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Is Trump a white supremacist? But Twitter is the appropriate... She's a human being. She's a citizen. Why can't she say her... I just hate this idea that nobody can say anything without somebody wanting them to go away because they disagree.
No, I'm with you 100% on that. I
Oh.
just think that she could have chosen a better way to make her
But
point,
Bob, can I
and
say
that way
that?
is available to her.
But boy, that's-
Accusing someone of treating Trump inelegantly is like saying someone was silly about the Three Stooges.
And by the way, I always thought Shemp never got his due. He was like a utility student.
Absolutely
He never got his due.
Married to my
Right.
cousin.
Shemp is married to your cousin?
Shemp Howard was married to your
Howard, yeah.
cousin.
Babe Frank was Shemp's wife, my father's cousin.
You see, we
What a
learned
name.
something.
Every day.
Babe and Shemp.
Babe
What a
and Shemp.
team.
My second cousin was WK.
Is that true?
Really?
No, I'm bragging. Wouldn't I have said a bigger name? My second cousin was Jolson. I mean, I would have gone big, but no.
Touché, as the French say.
Barney, what do you make of Trump's efforts at bipartisanship? Oh, with Chuck and Nancy. What do you think about that?
Actually, I think it reflects the fact he doesn't mind if the Democrats take over, and he might even like that. I believe this is a man who cares only about himself and his ego, accomplishments without substance. I mean, the thing about him is that he talks about accomplishments. And again, on the health care bill, every version of the health care bill has been different than every other version. There was no consistency to any program on health care. It's just, we got to beat those guys. I think he's getting frustrated that he's getting some tarnish because of the Republicans' inability to deliver. And I think what he's done with Chuck and Nancy, I think helps the Democrats. And I think he doesn't mind that.
I
think he would be
could
just
see him
as happy.
switching parties and his followers going.
No, I
along
think
with
what
it.
he did. No, I'd
Right,
say,
exactly. He
no,
did.
I don't
But
think he
can-
wants. He doesn't want a party.
Right.
He doesn't want a party.
Right.
He doesn't want to be blamed for the Republicans. And I think the other thing is this. I'll tell you what I believe about the guy. He's among other things lazy.
Yeah.
He's not just. And here's the deal. Agreeing with Schumer and Pelosi meant no hassle about the debt limit being raised, No hassle about the budget.
Right.
He can go off for a couple of weeks
Right.
at Christmas. It means he doesn't have to spend his Christmas with all that agita
I don't even
over
think
there.
he was thinking that far ahead. I think he was just sick of talking about it.
Yeah, but well,
You
I
know?
would say, but he
And
knew
there's
what he was
something
talking
else
Such a
about Trump that
limited
has to be
He
said.
wanted to say get it done, but if someone did say to him, "You're going to help the Democrats win," I think the answer in the back of his mind is, "Well, that wouldn't be so bad, because then I'll run in 2020 as the victim of all these bad people."
Yeah.
And I don't think he's from this planet. And I don't because
I'm
think
glad
about it.
someone is
No,
making
but
that
think
point.
about
Yes.
it. He never sleeps.
Never sleeps.
He only eats hamburgers well done.
Right. Steak.
And he never ever gets a cold. He's
And we've never
sick.
seen the
He's
long form
never
birth
sick.
certificate.
He's never
he
sick.
is very.
No,
yeah.
no. During the debates, he had like that really heavy breathing.
No, he
remember?
does that. He has that all the
Oh,
time.
I think we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't- so maybe he's just like in a steady state
But
of sickness.
we know he feels stress. And I know
Yes.
because I'm a stress eater. I gain weight in tough campaigns. The man is getting fatter and fatter. I mean, he claimed there's one superlative which he's entitled to claim that he has left out. He is the fattest president since William Howard Taft.
No.
Yes, I've
No,
said
it's
that.
true. I read today. They now have to butter the door frames of the Oval Office to get him out.
That's absolutely true.
And I'm not making that up.
I think his biggest problem is that, unlike his life in New York, he can't get laid. I think when he lived in New York, you know, he had a sex life that he enjoyed. Not with Melania, of course, that's the wife. What are you kidding? But, you know, he left in the morning, and Melania, I'll be home at 9 o'clock. Okay, and he has apartments, he has houses. He could have gone anywhere with anybody, hookers, Russians, peeing, whatever the fuck was going on. And you can't do that in the White House. I think that more
Wait,
than
excuse me,
anything
you
else
can't do that in the White House?
is...
Yeah.
History just began.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you a book.
Okay, Clinton proved that was he didn't get away with it in the White House, and he had to do it with the chunky chick who brought in the mail.
That's the only one you know about.
And it and
Shame on you, Bill. Who likes me more than Bill?
No, it's true. I think that's Trump's biggest frustration, but we'll talk about that again another night. Thank you very much.